Call of Duty Black Ops 3. I pre-ordered this game just to get access to the beta for you guys, and then promptly canceled my pre-order after playing the beta. Okay, so that happened. I don't want to make this a rant. I'm going to try and keep it fairly short, because you all have better things to do with your lives than sit around here watching a guy rant about video games. I haven't played too much Call of Duty in the past. I played Modern Warfare 2, and I played that quite a bit, and I played quite a bit of Advanced Warfare, never really bought it, but played it quite a bit anyway. And that's about it. And from my experience there, I was pretty excited for Black Ops 3 because I was interested to see where they would go. I thought the movement system in Advanced Warfare was a good thing, a big deal. But I was kind of disappointed that they didn't take it further, and that game had some serious technical issues that they never really worked out. But I was excited to see where they'd go with Black Ops 3. So, let's get into the good. The visuals look better than any previous Call of Duty game. That's not saying a ton. Call of Duty games have never been huge on visuals since really about the Modern Warfare era, but it is pretty good still, and the game looks solid. There's a bit of pop-in, but it's not too bad, and all around I'd say it's head and shoulders above Advanced Warfare, which had some pretty major texture issues. Looks pretty solid on the PC, so there's that. The audio's pretty solid as well. It's not particularly great, but it is good. That's about all I can say. There's not a ton of it. Gun sounds are a little weak, as they always are in Call of Duty. You know, a little too poppy. They all can sound a little too alike, but yeah, audio's decent. And then the big one, the core gameplay is solid. We all knew it would be. If you've played a Call of Duty game since, well, Modern Warfare, then you know what I'm talking about. They have a really, really solid, very addictive core gameplay with very short time to kill and fast-firing, fairly accurate weapons, as well as powerful melee attacks. And the combination leads to this very fast-paced game, almost arena shooter-like, where you're running around, being your own little Rambo and feeling like, well, kind of a badass. The issue that arises, well, several issues actually, arise mainly because of this core gameplay decision. So now is where we get to the bad. The parkour system is disappointing. It feels like a poor man's Titanfall. Just gonna say it, it feels like a first attempt. Like, Titanfall felt very refined and very natural, but this doesn't. It feels fairly awkward and kind of stilted, and you'll kind of struggle to make it work half the time. When it does work, it can be pretty satisfying, but it's clear that these maps were designed for a very traditional Call of Duty experience that ends up not suiting itself particularly well to verticality, and they've carried over a tradition from Advanced Warfare of seriously limiting verticality. There are a lot of ledges and levels that they looks like you can go up and climb on, but you can't. You just fall to your death if you go after them. They also made the rather boneheaded decision to restrict allow falling damage in this game. Meaning, if you fall from too great a height, you can get hurt. Which really, really hurts the game, because that was one of the great things about Titanfall and Advanced Warfare. There really was no falling damage, so you could feel free to parkour and push your jump pack as far as it would go, and all that jazz. But with this one, you've constantly got to watch out, because you've got to keep a little bit of your jump pack to slow you down right before you hit the ground, or you'll take falling damage. which really kind of hurts the speed and movement because you're constantly capping yourself in. So that was disappointing. But the big thing that holds this game back is the engine. Now, the IW engine, which Call of Duty is running, and has run for, well, pretty much since the original Modern Warfare, is garbage. I'm sorry, it's not up to snuff in 2015. It worked well enough for Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2, but there are just too many issues with it. You may notice in the gameplay here that it looks like sometimes there aren't bullets that aren't registering, and that's actually not just wishful thinking. That legitimately is bullets not registering. You see, the game uses something called client-side hit detection. Don't ask me to explain how it works, but it has a long documented history of being fairly unreliable. Another big issue, probably the biggest issue with this game, is the netcode. Now, when I heard they were running actual servers on this as opposed to peer-to-peer networking, I was ecstatic. Peer-to-peer networking really hurt Advanced Warfare because it made a very unreliable and poor networking experience. But the servers here don't seem to really be any better. Unfortunately, there's still a lot of lag, connection issues, and just a horrible feeling connection. I really don't understand how it's still so horrible. My guess is it still has to do with the netcode, which is still pretty bad, a holdover from the peer-to-peer networking days of the IW engine. It really hasn't been updated, I don't think, since the Modern Warfare games. Even as networking and computers have changed and adjusted themselves, well, the IW engine really hasn't done it that much. The final issue I have is just mainly the PC port. It's not particularly good. There are quite a few options, and the options menus are pretty detailed, but when you get into the beta, you're presented with a laundry list of issues, mainly relating to game stability. And it's not very stable. I experienced dozens of crashes in my short time using the beta. And yes, this is a beta. I imagine some of these issues will be patched out, but you should be aware of them anyway. And the other problem related to the PC port is that the controls aren't very good. You see, for some reason I really don't understand, the IW engine ties controls to frame rate. Meaning, on a PC, when you have your frame rate altering or fluctuating, well, you're kind of in trouble because that's going to alter your control sensitivity and really hurt your performance and your game. So you're either stuck with capping your frame rate, which is a horrible idea and really nobody should do it, or having really unreliable controls, which really hurts everybody too. So there's not really a solution to this, and I don't imagine this one is going to be patched out of the beta. So I have to give it points off for that. The optimizations are pretty good, and they have promised additional optimizations and advanced graphic options down the road. This is still a beta, so we'll take them at their word for that. But it's fairly optimized. I was able to run on a mixture of high and ultra settings with no anti-aliasing, and get between 60 and 90 frames per second on my rig with an R9 270. So, take that for what it's worth. But I still encountered a lot of frame drops, lagginess, stuttering, just a bunch of general issues that made the game really just hard to play. That's the big takeaway from all this. The game just doesn't feel very good, even though the core gameplay is very good. So, I'm going to give this a score. For those who aren't super fans, or who aren't big on Call of Duty, or maybe who've never played a Call of Duty game, I'm going to give this one a 5 out of 10. There are too many technical issues for me to recommend it, and it just doesn't rise above what it could have been. For those who do like Call of Duty games, well, you've probably already bought it anyway, but I would give it a 7 out of 10. It's a solid Call of Duty title with a few minor issues in the parkour system that I imagine will be somewhat resolved by the time the beta is out. Because if you are a Call of Duty fan, you're used to these issues. You've been dealing with them for years, and so you probably don't care, or have just gotten used to them. So that's it. Those are my thoughts on Call of Duty Black Ops 3. What do you think of the beta? Are you interested in buying the game? Will Call of Duty continue to impress you, or has it already died in your mind? Leave a comment down below, drop a like on this video if you enjoyed it, or it's helped you make your purchasing decision, and as always, thank you so much for watching. Take a moment to subscribe to the channel if you'd like. It really does make a difference.